Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to start this webinar about the benefits of being an FRM and the outlook for 2024. We will have some valuable participation from Lida Rosa, from GARP Institute, Carlos Cano, who is a teacher at Tandem Finance, and Luis Cachay, who is the head of the Lima chapter of the FRM, of the GARP Institute. What's our agenda for today? Let me present you. Let me introduce the agenda. Okay, here we go. We'll have some welcome remarks from myself. Then we will have Lida Rosa's presentation about the benefits of being an FRM. We will continue with Professor Carlos Cano and his testimony about how being an FRM boosted his career. Then we will have a roadmap by Luis Cachay. Then we will have some Q&A session moderated by Carlos Cano. And finally, we will have some closing remarks. You are more than welcome to give us your questions. We will, and please take advantage of this moment to think about questions if you want to pursue the FRM track. Let me present myself. My name is Paul Rebolledo. I'm the CEO of Tandem Finance. Tandem Finance is a GARP Institute official GARP Institute provider of FRM. And I'm pretty sure that this webinar will be very useful and will give us very valuable insights about the FRM track and the changes in the 2024 curriculum. I'm also sure that risk managers are getting more presence and people are more aware of the benefits of having this deep knowledge about risk management in the financial markets. So I would say that the FRM has made a lot of good changes for banking institutions and also for the capital markets. Being a good risk manager involves to have a very deep knowledge about different topics, from market risk administration until ESG environment, that currently has had a lot of importance and has more relevance in the current world. So I'm pretty sure that this webinar will be very useful for you. Let me introduce Lida Rosa, who is a VP Outreach at GARP University, and Lida has had a lot of a long-term tie with Tandem Finance, and I'm pretty sure that her presentation is going to be very useful for starting the FRM track. So please, Lida, go ahead.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for having me as part of this webinar. I'm very much looking forward to talking about the benefits of the FRM program and how it can help to boost your career, whether you're just starting out in risk management or you know, more of a seasoned risk professional. And so just to give you a little background on myself. So as Paul mentioned, I'm with the Global Association of Risk Professionals. I'm actually part of their institutional outreach team. And what we do is focus on bringing greater awareness of GARP and its educational programs, the FRM and the SCR, to financial organizations, but also non-financial organizations, because as you all know, risk management can run the gamut within any organization. You know, everyone has to manage risk in some capacity. So let me just share my screen here. For some reason, okay, there we go. Okay, hopefully you can all see that. Let me put it in presentation mode. Okay, great. Okay, so first I wanted to give a little bit of background on GARP, since we are the administrator of the FRM program. So GARP is a not-for-profit, nonpartisan organization, and we are the leading global association of risk professionals dedicated to elevating the practice of risk management through education, research, and the promotion of best practices globally. And the FRM is GARP's signature program and basically the gold standard in risk management certification, and it's recognized globally. GARP currently has close to 300,000 members and 31 local chapters worldwide. And we continue to focus on increasing our footprint, globally, but particularly in Latin America. And we were very proud to have established the first chapter in the region here in Lima in 2020. And the chapter has held several events since its inception. And we hope to continue that momentum by establishing additional chapters in Latin America, particularly Mexico City and Sao Paulo, among others. And chapters help to support the local risk community by providing risk professionals the opportunity to learn, stay current in their field, and also to grow their professional network by meeting with their peers to share best practices. So, that's another way that being a financial risk manager, it's a good way to increase your network.
Lida, I'm sorry. For some reason, I think, at least I myself, I'm watching your first slide, and it's like kind of freeze. I don't know if you're showing your second slide of your presentation.
Yes, I have advanced it.
I cannot see it. I don't know, Carlos, if you can see it. Oh, right now. Okay,
now?
Now it's working.
Yeah, now it's working.
I'm sorry about it.
Yeah, no, I think when I had it on presentation mode, it wasn't advancing maybe. But okay, so this is the third slide. Okay, so let me go here. So as I was saying, so the FRM is it is GARP's signature program, and it's the world's leading risk management professional certification recognized globally. And GARP has been administering the FRM program for over 25 years now. And we currently have over 83,000 certified FRMs worldwide. And interest in the program continues to grow year after year. According to the ECTIS, which is an independent benchmarking group, the FRM is equivalent to a master's degree in 14 education systems in major financial markets. And you'll see them listed here. And there are two cities or two countries in Latin America, Brazil and Mexico, that do recognize the FRM as a master's degree program. And then, so the FRM, we do offer it 3 times a year. Previously, it was 2, but because demand continues to grow, we added an additional cycle to the exam. So it's offered in May, August, and November. And it is a computer-based testing. So we do have several test sites in cities, worldwide. So it's very accessible to those that are looking to sit for the exam in either of these 3 windows. So what sets the FRM apart is the program's oversight committee, which is comprised of senior risk managers, senior risk management experts from around the world. And the curriculum is reviewed every year. And every 3 years, we carry out a more extensive update to the curriculum, which is based primarily on the feedback that we obtain from an industry survey that goes out to risk professionals globally. And we also have a continuing professional development component to the program, where risk managers can take advantage of curated content that helps to support continuous learning within the profession. And so here is a breakdown of the FRM, the exam curriculum. And the exam is administered in 2 parts. Part 1 covers the tools necessary to properly manage and assess risk. And part 2 focuses more on the implementation of those tools. So the FRM curriculum, it helps professionals to broaden their knowledge, enhance their skill sets, and better understand how to navigate today's rapidly changing financial landscape. And those just beginning their careers, they can benefit from the breadth of the curriculum, as you'll see here, which exposes them to the major strategic aspects of risk management. And those that are more established risk professionals can also benefit from taking the FRM, just to make sure that they are aware of the latest trends in risk management, or if they're looking to make a career change, whether it's within their organization or to transfer to, or to move to another organization. So regardless of where you are in your career journey, the FRM will provide the additional tools and skill set that and risk that will give you that competitive edge in the marketplace. So the FRM designation offers, candidates a competitive edge to those looking to grow in their career, and it demonstrates to employers that candidates have the command of the skills and tools necessary to assess and manage the challenges of the dynamic financial services industry. And here you'll see the versatility that the FRM can offer candidates, and how applicable it is in pursuing various career tracks. Or if you're looking to transition to a different role, we've had several FRMs that have moved out of audit and into a more into different areas of the bank. So it facilitates that knowledge needed to move into different areas within an organization. So you'll see here the various tracks that the FRM does cover. And another interesting thing that you can do when you have some free time is just, if you go to LinkedIn and type in the FRM title, you'd be surprised at the results that you get, and how many professionals hold the FRM designation, and they're in just very different careers. So it's just an interesting observation that we've made, and we're very happy to see the versatility of the FRM program. So in addition to earning the designation, the FRM, when you register for the program, you also receive a 1-year membership complementary to the GARP membership. program. And there are a few benefits to having access as a premium member. You have access to exclusive networking opportunities that are just for members. So we often do in-house lunch and learn events at different organizations. We host networking dinners and networking receptions, and those are exclusively for GARP members. And then you also have access to premium content that isn't available to non-members. So we have designated webcasts, articles, and podcasts that you can access on demand. And then you can also take advantage of the Career Center, where we post job listings, and you'll have access to several career, industry career surveys that GARP hosts throughout the years. Another benefit is you receive a member discount on GARP events, such as our annual financial risk and climate risk symposiums. And then lastly, which I think is one of the most important benefits of membership, is that you have access to participating in our continuing professional development program. And as an FRM, we do strongly recommend that you complete 40 hours of CPD credits every 2 years to remain current in the risk management field. And GARP does a great job of curating relevant content that's available in our multimedia library, that you can easily track and submit CPD credits in the GARP portal. And you can also print out a certificate of completion, which you can share with your employer. And so, it's a convenient way to keep up to date with current trends in the risk management field, and also to be able to demonstrate that to employers as well. And here I just wanted to share with you a list of the top global firms where FRMs are employed. As I mentioned, we have 83,000 FRMs globally, but here you'll see the top 10 banks where the majority of FRMs are currently employed. And you'll see that there are major global banks, financial institutions. We have some consulting firms as well. So the FRM is very well recognized in the industry, and can help to open the doors to those larger organizations. And I also wanted to include here the footprint in Latin America specifically. So we have close to 8 of those 83,000. We have close to 800 FRMs in Latin America. And here you'll see the breakdown by country. We do have Brazil kind of in the lead, and then Peru is not too far behind that. And then rounding out the top 3 is Mexico. So it's not much of a surprise there, but we continue to see a lot of interest in the program from Latin America. So this webinar is very timely and appropriate. So I wanted to kind of mention what's changes, or what is new for the FRM program in 2024. And so we have introduced an e-learning option for part 1 of the FRM exam, which will be available in the May exam of 2024. And the e-learning platform is, again, as I mentioned, it is optional. Right now you have access to the ebooks, or you can opt to purchase the physical books, but it's pretty much a static, learning process. You're just reading the online material, or you're reading the books. But now we wanted to introduce an e-learning platform to make it more of an interactive process. And it's also a way to kind of track your progress. The e-learning platform kind of maps out where you should be studying, by a certain time frame. So it kind of keeps you a bit on task. And it also helps you to kind of point out areas where you might need to reinforce your knowledge, or go over certain sections. So we found that this e-learning platform is just helpful. It's just an additional tool to help to study for the exam. And then we also introduced web-based practice exams. So currently our practice exams are, static exams that you print out and you fill out manually. But now we wanted to sort of simulate the exam taking process. So we've added a web-based practice exam where you take the exam and it simulates the actual test taking process. So it's multiple choice. Once you're completed however long it takes you, but it allows you 4 hours, similar to the exam itself. And then it's tallied, and you receive the results, and you can review the questions that you might have missed, and that way you can also help to review areas where you might need a little reinforcement. So again, it's an additional tool to help in the study process. In addition to that, the quantitative analysis section, we included 2 chapters on machine learning, because we recognize the importance of that topic in the financial industry, but it's particularly for risk management. Machine learning, AI, those are really very hot topics right now, and we recognize that it needed a larger section within the exam. So we've included that in the quantitative analysis section. And then lastly, the global practice analysis survey. So I kind of mentioned that in the beginning of my presentation, and it is a survey that goes out to risk managers globally. And some of you, might have received that survey or participated in it, but it helps to inform the curriculum for any larger changes that need to be made to the program. And it helps to kind of get the pulse of what's happening in the risk management space. It helps to determine the knowledge, skills, and abilities that are required of effective risk managers. And this helps us to update the FRM program, the curriculum, with the current trends in the risk management field. And so the survey is conducted every 3 years. We will be conducting it in January of 2024, and it will help to update the program, most likely for the November exam and into 2025. So just something to note there. And that pretty much wraps up my presentation. So I think I turn it back to Paul.
Thank you, Lida. It was really a great presentation about the benefits. It's fascinating how the FRM can enhance young risk professionals' skills about to go deep in the risk management area. And that's really very helpful for us and for people who want to take the FRM track. Now we're gonna turn on Carlos Cano. Carlos is a professor of Tandem Finance in the FRM course, but also Carlos was my colleague, my colleague in the Central Bank of Peru. Now he works in the reserve management area, and he will give us his testimony about how the FRM track boosted his professional life, his career, and how he uses on his daily work the FRM topics in a very good manner. So Carlos, please.
Thank you very much, Paul, for the introduction. Hi, everybody. So as Paul mentioned, my name is Carlos Cano. I currently work at the Central Reserve Bank of Peru, and I basically in charge of the strategic asset allocation process. It's basically how we structure the long-term strategy of the reserve in the Central Bank of Peru. I also in charge of the research projects, and also I also in charge of the external managed portfolios. So, and as Paul mentioned, FRM has been very relevant in my career in many aspects. I just want to highlight that, and just to give additional background, I have 4 international certifications. FRM is one of them. I also a CFA chart holder. I also hold the CIPM certification, which is a certification from the CFA Institute, where it's focused on manager selection and performance attribution. And also, I also hold the CQF chart holder. It's a more quantitative certification, which is basically focused on valuation of exotic derivatives. So in some way, I have like a bad experience with this certification, and I can assure you that the FRM is one of the top certifications out there. Not only because the curriculum is pretty strong, that's something that I think it's something important to highlight about it, because there are many different certifications out there, and the FRM it's the top in risk management. And one of the things that I like about it is how the curriculum is updated continuously. And I think that's something that it's very valuable, especially if you want to work in finance. The landscape changes every time, every day, every month. So the knowledge that you have last year maybe is not relevant in the current environment. So you really need exposure to how this knowledge is changing with the landscape. And I think the FRM does a really great job on that respect. And in the level 2, there is just specific section in which you are going to be exposed to the more recent developments in risk management, not only in the field of finance, but also related to other risks. Because, and I think that Lida mentioned this before, this certification is not only relevant for finance. In any industry in which you work, you are going to be exposed to different risks. And it's very important to have the knowledge and have the experience to deal with this risk. And not only from a theoretical perspective, how you use that knowledge in order to implement and take decisions. I think that's very important, and I think the FRM does a great job in that respect, and also to complement what Lida mentioned too, if you Google, if you get into LinkedIn and you try to search jobs abroad, you are going to see that FRM is one of the top certifications that the recruiters look out there. So it's in some job offers. It's just a plus, but in many of them, it's going to be a requisite. So I think that this is very important to highlight too, because it's not only recognized here in Peru, it's also recognized abroad in many different countries and many different industries. And I think that that's something that you need to take into account when you decide to go for this path. And also, and I think that this is another important point that I can make, is that when you, for example, when you pursue a master degree in any university, you are exposed to different type of courses related to finance, for example. And I think one of the advantages of the FRM is that you are very focused on risk management. And if you want to pursue a career in risk management, that's the best path you can follow in order to focus on the specific topics, the specific knowledge that you need to boost your career, instead of trying to cover like a more ample field. Yeah, so I think that's also something that it's very important when you decide to go for this path. You need to consider that we have limited time. Most of them work or are studying or other things, and if you want to focus on risk management, it's better to be very focused on the topics and the knowledge and the skills you need to boost your career in that specific field. So I think that's something that I will also like to highlight in this respect. I think that's it, Paul. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Carlos. Very valuable insights. I just keep with some benefits that you mentioned. The updated syllabus. That's the updated syllabus. Curriculum is really very, very beneficial. Secondly, that you're flexible about industries, so you can work on the financial area, but not only there, also in the real sector. It's very valuable for the recruiting process. That's key for young professionals. And finally, it gives you a unique touch on risk management that no other certification or credential can give you as a young professional. So yeah, I would say that this is very valuable, very insightful for the young professionals that are hearing us. And now I'm turned to Luis Cachay. Luis is an old friend of mine. Luis has worked with me at Scotiabank. Luis has been the head of the risk management area at the Scotiabank, and he also heads the GARP chapter in Lima, and he's going to give us a nice roadmap about what the chapter is doing and what is coming on in the next few months. So please, Luis, go ahead. Luis, your micro is off.
Thank you. Gracias, because we are in Peru. Hello, Lida. It's very nice to see you there. And also, Paul, thanks for the opportunity. And also, Carlos, I congratulate you for your speech. It's a very interesting and enthusiastic. I like that. And yes, I am currently the co-director of this Peruvian chapter. Let me tell you that the Peruvian chapter is the only one chapter in Latin America. So we are working together with a group of people, because I'm not alone in this. I'm working with a group of people in identifying what are the relevant topics for risk management professionals in Latin America and trying to gather them around these events. And I'm going to share with you what we have been doing and, of course, what we're expecting to do, because we are very enthusiastic about these things. And also, I will share with you what are the advantages, because I've been through this during the last, let's say, 10 years. I used to head the market risk management in a couple of banks, a blue one and a red one. And then I turned into integrated risk management. That means that I also was in charge of other topics of risk management, not only market or liquidity or investment, but also, let's say, operational, which comprises cyber, continuity, policy, model. And let me tell you that the risk management topics that I learned and I read while I was studying for the FRM really helped me to understand what was going on. And at the same time, I was working for, in these banks, I was working for an international company. I mean, the banks I worked for were global. And it was very easy for me to understand what they were trying to do, and also to identify what were the paths to implement what they were asking in our local market. Our local market is not as developed as those in Europe or in North America. So it was kind of easy because I understood what was the future of the risk management, and I was an active, let's say, provider of information or useful information, not only for the bank, but also for the sector. I mean, all the banks, we gather together in, let's say, in the Market and Liquidity Risk Management Committee in the Bankers Association. We built that from scratch, from zero. And then we started doing the same things. And I think this certification and the process of studying, applying, and taking the exams helped me a lot to understand what were the main drivers of value that risk management units give to their institutions, their financial institutions. And Carlos Cano has also said something very special, and Lida Rosa stated it also. The risk management concepts, procedures, culture, policies you learn and you research while you are studying for the FRM exam gives you the capabilities to understand risk management in any sector. And at the end, liquidity is a risk that is faced by every organization, families, people isolated. Credit risk is one of the most easy tools to enhance sales. So whenever you want to sell a little bit more, you give credit. So everyone is facing credit risk right now. And among this context, you know, credit risk is one of the most challenging ones in our economies. And let's say operational risk is for everyone. So all the risks you learn, it's not only for the financial sector. It's of course for banks, for cajas, for investment funds, mutual funds, pension funds, for the central bank. You name it, and you will use the knowledge you learn while you are studying for your FRM. And let me tell you something else. I'm going to show you something that might be very important for you. Okay, this is it, and I will share my screen. Are you capable of seeing my screen? Please confirm yes or no. No or yes?
Yes, we
Okay.
can see it.
So this is Peruvian chapter, the only one in Latin America, let me tell you. So I'm trying to make it international, Latin American. But let me show you this. We gather together with, several other professionals. We have a chat. In WhatsApp. So you are welcome to join us in the chat and to give us ideas on what are the topics that you would like to include in our pipelines. And we together as a team, we look for speakers and for professionals that want to share their knowledge and their interest and advocacy on this topic. You have, in the past, we have been touching topics like model risk, but at the beginning, when there was no model, before the COVID. And we also tackled with a credit risk after the COVID. Credit risk was very, very important for financial institutions and solvency and all that. Then green financing, because these topics are not the usual topics. These are advanced topics that you as professionals of risk is in the future, you have to be addressing and advising your companies about them. Then this is today. At the end of November, today, this 30th, we are going to deploy a webinar on ALM, Assets and Liabilities Management, because it's a very important risk topic now. Remember Silicon Valley Bank, remember Signature Bank, remember that, and what are the rising interest rates and the impact on economy and the growth, all that affects financial institutions. Those are structural risks. And so you have to address what would be the strategies to face them with success. So, and as you see, we have professionals from Mexico, also from Peru, yes, and also in the banking sector and in the strategy sector, not only risk professionals, but also treasury and strategy professionals. And we're going to keep on doing this. Next, it's planned to be about model risk management, because we have a regulation, a local regulation about that, and it has a year of implementation. So we have experience and we have great professionals on this topic, and it's a pioneering regulation in Latin America. So it will be very interesting for professionals around Latin America. And then we have sustainability and green finance or climate risk, because also in Peru, we are preparing the regulation about that. And we are kind of lagging with respect to other countries in Latin America. And of course, there's more to come. So these are the pipelines. Just don't tell anyone, because maybe the CFA charter holders will be planning to do something similar. So, well, there is plenty of interest in our professionals to have both certifications. And this is what I want to share with you. Look at this. You see the black boxes there. Those are the topics in which the FRM is highly covering the topics. I mean, it's complete, profound, deep into these topics. But there are blue ones. In these two, the FRM is not that profound, because the ethical and professional standards, we touch the ethics topics, but not as large, not as profound as maybe other certifications. Why is that? Because ethics comes from you. We have an ethical topic. We of course, we review it and we use it in our profession, but it's, let's say, it's not as profound, not as so many hours to be dedicated to that in the FRM exam. We also have financial statements analysis. Accounting is not one of our main topics. No, it's not. But you see the other ones. And you have equity investment. Equity investment is not a topic specific. It's touched along different other topics, because equity is kind of the essence of the market. So we touch this equity investment in different parts of the preparation. And let me tell you something else. You have, this is a regulation, the local regulation, and I finish with this. The local regulation is the 114, 2005. I have prepared a benchmark among all these certifications, and it's obvious that when you have 2 exams instead of 3, when you have more than $800 less in order to obtain the certification, which you have this flexibility to address, to take the first exam. So this regulation just tells that you have to have 1 exam, and the topics, as you have seen, the topics are also accepted by any institution in the bank and also in the markets. So I think you are welcome to join us in the WhatsApp, and just thank you for the opportunity, Lida and Paul, and congratulations, Carlos Cano.
Thank you, Luis. I think it's a very valuable intervention. I am really admired about how you practice your FRM issues in the 2 global banks where you have worked, and also now you are you make the governance and standards practice in the banking association. And I also take into account a very unique and rich roadmap that for 2023 and 2024 that takes also into consideration model risk, ALM, and ESG issues that are highly relevant in the current time, and also the strength of the curriculum, of the FRM curriculum, about the risk management process. And also you mentioned the local regulation that basically boosts the interest also of young professionals who are pursuing to have locations in some banks and also in some firms. Well, now it's time for the Q&A session. It's time for our audience. Please feel free to ask any questions to our panelists. Carlos Cano has collected some some questions that were asked before in our chat. So please, we will start with those questions, and then the mix will be open for any person who wants to ask something about this interesting topic. Please go ahead, Carlos.
Thank you very much, Paul. So I have 3 questions here. I think I can cover 2 of them. And the other one, I think it would be better if Lida covered it. So the first one is how's the difficult level of the FRM in comparison to the CFA and other exams? What I can say here is that given that the FRM have more, I think it's more narrow topics in comparison to the CFA. The CFA, as I think as Luis mentioned, has a really huge portion of the curriculum. It's ethics, for example, and another huge portion is financial statement analysis, which is basically how you read the financial statements. So I think in terms of the time that you need to spend studying, I think FRM requires less hours. I think that would be my experience. I think it requires less hours, and given that it's more focused and specific risk management topics, I think it would be easier it's gonna be easier for you, because there are going to be a pretty strong relationship between the topics as you progress in your study, in comparison to a different curricula in which you have topics from different parts of the financial field. So I think that would be my experience regarding the exams. Regarding the other exam that is included here in the question, I think that is the exam for the actuaries. I haven't taken I haven't taken that exam, but I think that's more quantitative. So I think that the first question would be that you need to answer is, in which field do you want to boost your career? So what's the career path you want to follow? And based on that, I think you need to try to choose the best certification that actually suits you better. The second question that I have here is regarding the level of English that you need to take the exam. I don't think the language could be a problem here, because as you know, I think that the most difficult part of any is, for example, any English test is the speaking. So for taking the exam, you just need to read, and I think that's enough. Because you don't need to write essays. It's a multiple option questions. So I don't think that the language could be a barrier here. And the third question that I have here is that if you fail the exam, do you need to pay for the exam again, or do you have a chance to retake it? I think maybe Lida can answer that question.
Sure. Yes, unfortunately, if you do pass, you would have to pay to take the exam again. The GARB doesn't allow for retakes, but you would only have to pay the exam fee. So the one-time enrollment fee of $400, that wouldn't apply to having to retake. So it would just be what the actual exam fee is.
I have no more questions here. I don't know if you have received any additional questions in the chat.
Mike on.
Yes, we have some questions in the chat here. Let me review one. Hi, how many women are we talking about? I also had a failed postponement for the exam on 2021. I couldn't reach anyone. What could I do?
Women in terms of how many FRMs? I'm not really sure what the...
That might be.
Danny, I don't know if you can construct a little bit more on your question.
Yep. Yeah, how many
Let me. How many Peruvian women?
Oh, yeah, so that I'd have to check. I wouldn't know that off the top of my head, of the, I think it's 116 FRMs, but I would have to research that. But in general, I think, the FRM certification, it tends to be very male dominated, and that landscape is slowly changing, but yeah, I couldn't venture to say how many women, but I would say that, it would be a smaller amount of that 116 that I posted, so.
Okay. I don't know if any other question from the audience.
I just would like to say something about the FRM,
Please,
the
please.
people that are in our chapter. I know there are 116, but there are some more, I would say 100 more or more than that have taken already the first exam on the FRM. So the community is larger than that. And we also have a little bit more that have been registered in our website. I also invite you to register to our website. You have valuable information there about risk management and the trending topics in risk management that might be useful for you, not only to prepare for the exam, but also to be aware of what is happening in the world in terms of risk management. And the second thing is that I have shared the link of the WhatsApp group in which we are committed to answer whatever question you have.
Excellent. Really, really good. I have one question from Eduardo. Did you take any, I'm sorry. It's this new I'm sorry, from Fabio. Hi, this new e-learning platform will be available for May 2024 exam.
Yes, so for only part one, though, for part one, May 2024 exam, we will introduce the e-learning and also the web-based practice exam. Yes.
Excellent. I have one question for Lida. Lida, how have the people that want to take the exam has evolved from the pandemic? Because I saw the figures in any other credentials, and the pandemic basically slowed down the number of people that wanted to take the exam. And I don't know if in some credentials they have recovered a little bit, or they have basically got the point with the pre-pandemic levels. I don't know what's the experience in the FRM.
So in the FRM, it's pretty much in line with the other certifications, the CFA, Kaya. We had a dip after the pandemic, but now we're starting to see levels of interest in terms of candidates, number of candidates getting closer to pre-pandemic numbers. So there was a slowdown, but I think now with the offering of the 3 exam windows, and now that the FRM is computer-based as well, that's kind of opened up the opportunity for more people to take the exam. So I think, like I said, we're trending towards getting to pre-pandemic numbers. So interest in the program is growing once again. So we're very happy about that. And that's the reason too that we've implemented these changes for 2024, because we're seeing more of a demand for the program.
Luis, I have a question. Why in the Peruvian chapter, now the Peruvian FRM chapter, FRMs are so high in Latin America? For example, Mexico has 10 times the size of the capital markets of the Peruvian market. And why do you think there are so many FRMs in Latin America, in Peru, in comparison to other bigger markets like Mexico?
Well, I think there are 2 reasons for that. We have seen an increasing importance of the quantitative side of the finance and the economy during the last 10 or 20 years. I've seen that too. And we have seen also with great attention that our quantitative courses in the universities have increased the number of professionals in the finance sector. So we've seen that in different universities. So I think part of those professionals have been deciding between the other certification, which I would not mention right now, and the FRM. And as you see, the advantages are obvious. 2 exams against 3, focus on risk. And to be capable of risk management, you have to be capable also of doing whatever you're doing. If you develop operations, then you have to be very skilled in operations in order to identify the risks of operation. If you are a developer, the risks of development or cyber risk or security information risks, you have to know about security information, and then you upgrade and turn into a risk management of a cybersecurity risk manager. So the first thing is the quantitative side in increasing, and the other one is the context that in Peru, the financial sector has been growing steadily during the last, let's say, 13 years, except for the last 3. And this has thrust the number of FRMs focusing on risk, because the context needs professionals that deal with change, with sudden change, and not only with the projects and the expectations of what is going to be your profitability, but also what to do in order to sustain this profitability, not only for banks, but also for the customers. I mean, for all the companies. Yes, I think
Okay,
those
Luis,
are the
thank you
reasons.
for your explanation. I have a question from Heather. He says, hi, how many hours we have to invest in that e-learning platform to be ready to take the exam and be successful?
Well, I mean, typically candidates, it varies, but what we see an average number of hours required to study and pass for the FRM exam is anywhere between 200 and 300 study hours. So that's the average of what candidates have expressed. The e-learning platform is something new, so we would have to wait to see what the response is, but I would imagine that would help to cut down on some of that study time, just because it's a more interactive platform.
Okay. I have a question from Eduardo Centeno. He says, do you know any online free mock exams, please? I don't know if
Yeah, so the only mock or practice exams that we have are the ones that what I mentioned, that we'll be offering the web-based practice exam in May. But currently we have exams. They're not online. They're part of the study materials when you enroll in the program, but they're not web-based, so you would have to actually print it out and complete it currently. But next year in May, we will offer the online version of the practice exam.
Excellent. And I have one last question from Heather. He asks, is the exam physically taken in Lima?
Yes, we do have test sites in Lima.
Excellent. Well, it's now 8:30 in Lima, so I think time's up. Thank you, Lida. Thank you, Luis. Thanks, Carlos. I think it has been very valuable to have your insights. I'm sorry, Heather has one last question, so I'm going to read it just to wrap up. It is very ambitious to pass both exams almost at the same time.
That is very ambitious.
I can take this one.
Sure,
I think it
Carlos.
depends on. I think it depends on. I think it depends on your background. So I maybe can share my experience related to that. So, for example, when I took the FRM certification, it was after I I was a CFA chart holder after my MBA degree in Cornell University. So after you have all that academic background and after all the professional experience that I had, I think that would be possible. But I think that different candidates have different experience, academic and professional, and they need to have their own rhythm on how they need to approach the exam. If you have a pretty damn strong academic background and professional background, go ahead. I think you will do it, but I think that it depends on each person's experience.
It's ambitious.
Eder also says, I passed the first CFA exam a few years ago, thanks Tandem Finance. Thank you for your comment.
I will just mention one thing. I mean,
Yes,
we
please.
have had candidates that have taken both exams the same day. Just know, I mean, and have passed, but then just know that if you pass part 1 and you don't pass part 2, then you have to retake both. So you can't just carry over passing part 1. So just be aware of that.
That's key, actually.
Yes.
Okay, well, I think it's time to wrap up. Thanks, Lisa, Luis, thanks, Lida, Luis, and Carlos.
Sure.
It has been very valuable. I don't know, I think Luis want to say some final words? Luis?
It's not me, it's just that Jose Ramos is sent me a direct message, of course.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I think it has been very valuable for all of us. I think the FRM has enriched our professional risk management life, and I would tend to think that there will be some other times that we will get together. I think there are many people that want to take in Peru and in Latin America that want to take the risk track, and the FRM and the GARP Institute is the golden start in this regard. So thank you very much. Have a good night and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Bye.